people, and today we're breaking down film on Tahj Washington, Miami Dolphins receiver. We're going over his USC film from last year because he was a 7th-round pick on the previous draft. And I kind of look at him, since he missed like all of last year with an injury, I almost kind of consider him a part of this draft class, the one that just happened. And I went back and watched his film, and honestly, to me, like, he's an NFL level player. Like, he deserves to be on a roster, and I hope he actually gets a fair shot, because sometimes I think players don't always get a fair shot in these scenarios when they like are a late round pick or UDFA the year before, and they didn't get a chance to play, and then they kind of, there's a recency bias with the players they brought in. So hopefully he gets a fair shot. He's a little undersized. He's just a smidge under 5'10", 174. But very smart player, like understands like route running, the pace of things, where to be versus zone. And even though he's small, he does break the things that usually hold small receivers back. I think certain small receivers struggle to make tough catches, but he's a very reliable guy. He can make contested catches. He tracks the ball well down the field, and he plays with some toughness and physicality. Like, he's not going to, absolutely go out there and destroy people, but he works through contact. He'll break some tackles. He works really well off script. Like, he makes a lot of good play. Like, he was Caleb Williams' safety blanket in college, and like, honestly, he's a guy that I'm going to be rooting for. I hope he gets like a real shot coming this next season, because I actually kind of like him. After your like top 4, like, he's probably my favorite in terms of like the pure film watching him coming out of college. So I think if you keep 6 receivers, like, he has a real shot, because I think if the 5th and 6th will be like a mix of one of like the different types. Like, you have the Armstrongs, Theo Weiss, the bigger body guys, and then I think the other one could be like a smaller guy, like a Tahj Washington, Eskridge, someone like that. He plays with some physicality, willing to block. He's clearly a scheme fit. I think a guy they were excited for last year, but just didn't get a chance to work out. So hopefully he gets that chance this year, because I really do think his film's like really solid. And but even then, if he doesn't make the roster, like, there's probably a decent chance you get him on the practice squad, because it is a guy that they could potentially not be like other teams couldn't have as on the forefront of their mind, because he is from a previous draft class. So here in the slot, it's kind of where he does his work. I remember like literally like the only thing we saw from last year is there was a slot fade thrown to him from Tua, and he made a nice play in those early camps, but does a really good job attacking leverage. Like, he's getting bracketed here by these 2 defenders. He's got man-to-man. This guy's playing outside leverage. He does a really good job slightly bending his angle on the route here. Very subtle to the outside, and starts to commit. Gets this guy to open up his hips there. Gets this guy to, keep him in his spot, break across his face. And then he does a really good job with his route angles. Like, he does a really good job, like, flattening things out. Like, he could have kept his angle, at like a 45. But he starts to flatten it out more and more to give his QB a better angle to throw to. Makes it harder for this guy to get to the ball, and he makes that catch down the field. And he is a multi-level threat. Like, he tested like decently. He wasn't like an amazing test or anything. He doesn't have like crazy speed, but he's got like good enough speed, good enough short area quickness. Like, he's a guy that can impact kind of all 3 levels. Here's another really good job. Why I really like his skill set is, one, he always is selling moves. Like, even though it doesn't really matter too much in this situation, he's selling with his eyes, his bodies, his shoulders are committed to the inside. He's able to break away, and he has very smooth transitions when doing this, where it's just off of one cut, good lower body flexibility, and then get behind the defense. And then he always snaps his head around when he feels like a soft spot. Like, this ball should already be out, and I think in the Dolphins offense it would already be out. Caleb is super late to get there, but he gets the ball out anyways late. He goes up, catches the ball with his hands, and is prepared to take a hit from a safety. And for a smaller guy, like, he is not afraid of some contact, and he'll hang on to those. That's a really solid play. Here he is on like a slot play. Dolphins will love to run some slot fades. He absolutely he runs good routes, but he doesn't waste time either, which I think is something McDaniel has always preached. Like, just have your same releases. Like, he gives a little glide off the ball and then hits an instant acceleration once he's eaten up some steps here. This guy doesn't gain any depth, and he's already passed him. Track this ball in pretty nicely and get into the end zone deep down the field. Here's another example of him just finding soft spots versus the zone. Like, it looks like he's gonna do that sluggo stuff that he loves to do. He kind of snaps around. He sees this space get open up. This linebacker isn't here, so he just kind of gets instantly across and just is very smooth it, catches it. Good transitions too, because this ball is kind of like thrown behind him. He's able to flip his hips and make a nice catch at the catch point. Definitely a very fluid player, very flexible, which is always a plus in my book. And here's just a vertical threat working down the seam, tracking this football in beautifully. You can see it better from the other angle. But a lot of guys, like, when this ball is, like, at this angle, because he's almost dead even. Like, with the QB through this, he's almost dead even. These balls can be very difficult to track because you have to, like, go straight over, and he tracks it in perfectly. Late hands, dive, make that catch. I think he's down at the 1, but just huge plays for Washington. I really do enjoy his game and think he actually has a legit shot of sticking around. Very different game from like Armstrong and Weiss, and that's why I hope you can kind of keep him and then one of Armstrong and Weiss. If you're able to keep 6 receivers, they kept 6 receivers in the past, but this most previous season they did only keep 5 for a majority of the year. Like, look at the route, doesn't get targeted here. Does a really good job with his footwork, very clean. Guy has outside leverage. He's able to eat up that space, get on his outside half, and really get him to open up his hips and commit, and then break across his face and with like a crossover move. Has pretty good moves in the wheelback. They ran a lot of RPO stuff where like he would slide and be across the formation, very fitting for what the Dolphins like to do. And they get him the ball down the flat, and he's not going to like do anything too crazy athletically with the ball in his hands, but he can make some people miss, and he'll break a tackle. Like a guy gets a clean out on there, he stays on his feet, shows some contact balance, some play strength, which I think is always like if you have a certain level and you can do that as a smaller guy, I think it always gives you a much better chance than the people that can't hang with the physicality. Here he is avoiding a reroute, dip that shoulder. Look how he dips it. You want to dip, reduce your surface area so this guy can't get a clean like move on you to reroute you, disrupt your route timing. And he's able to then sink his hips out of that, work back, catch the ball. Pretty nice job here, I think. Just avoiding the reroute, being efficient in your transition, just to be a reliable threat in that intermediate range. And he is pretty much always getting to exactly where it needs to be. Here's just a playoff script, nothing really to work like. I mean, his route's pretty much dead based on the coverage Oregon State's going on here. He's working into 3 bodies. He sees his QB work off script. Caleb running now. He's able to, boom, break away, time it, catch this ball low, like a tough catch. Like he hangs on to this. He's catching this ball low, away from the frame. Very impressed with his ability in those scenarios. Another job where there's just the RPO slide option. He makes the first guy miss. Just pretty comfortable, I think, with him in these situations that you can get him those types of balls. He's not going to be. I think Malik will be better as a yak guy. I think that's why Malik's one of the lock for the rosters. But Tahj, I think, had a chance to at least push him last season for some opportunities if he stuck around. Like he's very solid, pretty much all around, breaking tackles, making people miss, getting into the end zone in these situations. He does a really good job, I think, with he has got flexible hips. He has a really good job getting skinny and like reducing surface area to brace for contact, which is an underrated part of, I think, a yak game. He can run some routes, boom, combines moves together, very efficient in transition here, to break across. Very, very nice running sort of like this zig. Boom, boom, sink those hips, break across to the outside. Catch the ball with his hands as well. And he's just a guy that makes plays down the field. He can be a vertical threat. He tracks this ball in late, like working through contact. Just so many like things to really enjoy about it. And he's willing to block. Like, he's not going to be a great blocker. Like here he gets a pretty quality blocking rep where he's able to cut the guy off to the inside, take good angles, especially when you consider where this guy was. Get your hat across, and now leg drive, sustain. Basically stock blocking there. Another example of him doing this stuff where he just finds the soft spots, verse zone constantly, gets his head around, becomes a reliable threat, prepare to take a hit from the safety. Very, very fun. In the slot, still making a vertical presence down the field on a post route. Catch the ball, take a hit, brace for some contact balance, then, make someone almost miss there. Just making plays, all like being a 3-level threat. Having enough athleticism, enough juice into his game, but also being just smart, which I think gives you an advantage when you're on these late rosters. If you can understand the playbook and you can be more QB friendly, I think that just gives you a better chance making these late rosters. It makes coaches trust you more. Here he runs, gives a little bit of a shift there. Boom, break across. You can see the flexibility. If you look at like right here when he makes that cut, you can see the flexibility in his hips to get to the outside, and he doesn't really waste too. Like when he does this, I feel like a lot of guys when they're bending like this, they don't always accelerate. I feel like he's able to accelerate out of this and get into the end zone, running that shake. So very very impressed overall. I think going back, kind of rehashing the Tahj Washington film. I feel like we haven't talked about him much, but he's a name that I think is a sleeper in this offseason. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.